I've just watched Weapons recently for the first time, and I am conflicted. There's a lot I liked in there, but there's one moment that I feel almost ruins the film for me. Don't worry, returning viewers, there will be reactions here spliced in. This is a new format that I'm toying with. So let's go through the film, see what I liked, discuss the themes, the characters, what's happened, and then ultimately what builds up to a moment that I don't like and I think ultimately maybe even ruins the film for me. So we open to this really childlike narration that I really enjoy, because usually in a horror film there's this trope of the childlike narration that's really creepy, but it's creepy in a way of it being childlike narration or a childlike voice, but with the inclination and the tone of an adult speaking. But this one, they're talking like a child.
Because the police and the top people in this town were like so embarrassed that they weren't able to solve it that
they were like so embarrassed. I like that, talking like an actual kid, but it's a cover up from above. There's a conspiracy.
Maybrook Elementary is kindergarten through 5th grade. So this one Wednesday is
that pushing.
for the whole school.
Something felt unnatural about that.
This teacher
Huh.
who was new.
What was weird about that? But this one, they're talking like an actual child. It's like a child's retelling of the events, which I really enjoyed. And in there, we get a little bit of the setup for how there is this incompetence within the systems of the film, within the systems of the society of the film. This child is saying how, things were covered up, things weren't investigated properly. You see how things weren't investigated properly with things like Alex's dad having a stroke and, the police just accepting that and accepting this random woman who claims to be their aunt speaking for him, We'll get into more of that later, but I really like this introduction.
But Mrs. Gandy's room was totally empty. Well, not totally. There was one boy there.
Oh, there was? Okay.
His name was Alex Lilly.
He didn't run away.
And they never came back.
They just ran away. There they go. I wonder what is it, like an aeroplane? They're free? That pose? I don't know. Naruto running. And it does make me wonder how this was decided upon, because I could definitely see a version of this film where that didn't happen and we just have like an opening montage of the kids running away, and then it cuts to the empty classroom and then like the parents teacher meeting. But they do a good bit of setup here, and it's almost like a time skip of a month, as the narrator says, so we know this time has passed. Because I could see just cold open into the parents meeting without that introduction. I wonder why they made those choices. But I quite like having the child's perspective on what we've got there,
The police talked to Alex a lot. They asked him why his classmates did what they did.
Why didn't he go or get chosen or whatever it is?
They asked him if there was a TV show where someone ran away like that.
Oh, something that can inspire them in the media, or a viral trend, yeah.
For almost a whole month, they kept the school closed for their big investigation.
I'm surprised how much this is
They had to open everything back.
going through it. We're already like a month in after the big event.
This is where the story really starts.
Yeah, I thought it would have started with them going, but the story really starts here. So we're thrust into this parents-teacher meeting, and of course the parents are scared. They're looking for answers. We're seeing how they react to all of this, how they are processing their grief, and where they are assigning blame all on Justine, who is acting as a complete scapegoat here. And it really doesn't help that she's got like no media training at all. She's just thrust in front of these people, and someone says, go on, make a speech, make them feel better, which she hasn't prepared for at all. Like the parents, she just wants answers too.
Be abnormal.
Because I'll tell you right now that you may call what happened abandonment, but I don't. I don't see it like that. I see something that doesn't make.
Of course, all the parents want answers. They're all mad.
I want to hear from Justine Candy. She's here. I want to know exactly what she was doing in there.
I mean, she just walked in and they weren't there. She's just as confused as you are.
I know there's nothing I can say to make this better.
It's difficult when you've probably not been media trained. And you see this with Archer later, just how much scrutiny she's under, how mistakes that are unrelated get brought up to portray her as a bad person, portray her as something she's not. You know, an old relationship that didn't go well, an old drunk driving incident that has nothing to do with your ability to cheat children.
She had a DUI 2 years ago. Did you not see that? She was let go from her last school that she taught at for inappropriate behavior. Did you not see that one either?
With a member of the faculty.
One drink driving incident and one relationship with another teacher, yeah. Not particularly anything crazy. Yeah, it's not like they went missing in the classroom. She showed up and they weren't there, you know? And let's address the elephant in the room, the themes of the movie. Now, I know Zach Cregger has said himself that it wasn't intentionally about school shootings and that it was about his relationship, his experiences with people who have had alcoholism and how that's affected him. But it's clear here with imagery of the empty classrooms, of the teachers, of the parents, how they react, and just like, you know, the floating gun in one of the dream sequences, you know, it's obvious there's that metaphor, that reading of the film here, which I think is really interesting to explore. And even if unintentional, what it says about society, what it even says maybe about Zach Cregger. Because at the start here, we have all of these parents looking for answers, looking for a scapegoat, looking for a straw man to attack, and they all go onto Justine. They all attack Justine. But it does reflect the real world, how, you know, sometimes we blame rap music or violent video games or D&D for being demonic, or, you know, there's all these scapegoats. People try and find excuses or reasons that they try and find in the real world to explain what has happened. Turn to alcohol to cope. Oh, of course there'll be conspiracy about it. Yeah, she's paranoid about everything, rightfully so. Oh. I mean, yeah, it definitely feels like it was going to be something more supernatural, like a supernatural force that possessed all of these kids. When looking at it through the lens of gun violence, actually, I don't know how much I like that Gladys was an actual answer to these questions. There was legitimately actually a scapegoat. There was a reason that's caused all of this. Now, there was like a big bad all along, and the parents were right to be conspiratorial. Obviously, there are reasons why gun violence happens in the real world, but it's much more complex and multifaceted than just there being like one reason, one bad guy to take care of. It's, again, much more multifaceted. And here the answer is just it was Aunt Gladys all along. But I think there is room to build on this. I've seen Forbes released an article saying that there is an Aunt Gladys prequel movie or project in the works. And actually, I feel like if you develop Aunt Gladys a bit more, it could become more apt, her being this scapegoat. If somehow they can make her this representation of society and societal failings, maybe even parental failings, if she becomes like an embodiment of that, I think it would actually really help that metaphor, that reading of the film.
I just need to fill my days with, I need to work.
I don't know, there's going to be a lot of people who won't let her see their kids now, of course. So then we jump into Justine's chapter, following Justine about, of course, she's paranoid, all of this attention that's being given to her. we see her turn to drinking and is worried about stalking. But then she also has this obsession with Alex, Alex being the only survivor of the incident of the kids running away. And this is kind of to her detriment. She doesn't think about the image she's portraying. Again, she's not very media trained. She hasn't been briefed on how to present herself properly to these parents and to the outside world. And there is also a little bit of selfishness in there for her own peace of mind, her going to Alex and wanting to talk to Alex to get closer to him, where it's just for her own sake too. But there is also definitely care that she has for him.
He's in Mrs. Bill's class, and we've been advised that the best thing that we can do for him is keep him on a routine.
Have some normality.
Well, I would feel so much better if I could just speak with him.
Right there.
What?
That's the problem. You'd feel so much better.
It's what's best for him.
No, you cannot talk to Alex, Lily.
It's just... we're the only ones left.
It's a connection between those two. And in this, we're introduced to Paul, someone she's had relations in the past. I thought it was really funny, the music as they were walking into the bar.
Hell, I used to do stuff like this when I was in school. Teepee houses.
Oh. Okay, someone he knows.
That's where we fall.
The song, That's Where We Always Meet, yeah. Okay. And when they introduce Paul, they do introduce him, as like a bit of a dick. I gave him the benefit of a doubt for a little bit, but you can see throughout the film with Paul, the way he treats people, he just is not the type of person that you want to be a police officer. And I have heard that in Barbarian, also by Zach Cregger, that there is a lot of critique in police as well in that film. So it feels like it's a consistent theme throughout his films.
Somebody vandalized your car?
They wrote witch across it. So yes, for your information, everybody...
And that means she's got eyes on her wherever she goes as well now. I'll blend in with that car.
Does Donna know you're here?
No.
Really?
Really?
Oh, okay.
Please?
No.
Okay. Of course. But this whole thing with Justine, it feels like it is just a recipe for disaster. Marcus gives her all of this time off of work, but actually maybe she needs something to consume her time, because now she's going off to investigating. Of course she is going to investigate. With how much free time she has, what else is she going to do? She's going to be consumed by this.
Don't let yourself get all
Justine about it.
Just leave the investigating to the investigators.
Thing is, she's off of work. She's got nothing else to do as well. How's she going to fill her time? Of course, she's going to obsess over it. Following in her very obviously marked car that says witch as well. Obviously, he's still rattled. Look at him. And what are his parents thinking, Do they want to keep her away from him? And this is where we get our first spooky encounter. I really wasn't expecting this from the house, her showing up there. Immediately my thought is, oh, they've boarded it up for paparazzi because they're getting too much press. But no, that's not what it is. Obviously, later on we learn it's Gladys and something weird is happening here, but that wasn't what I was expecting at all. From the outside, things look very normal and tidy. It's only as you get closer, as you peer in, that you start to see how strange things really are. And I think that's just emblematic of this whole film. Oh yeah, it's all newspapered up so you can't see in because of all the press. A lot of eyes on the family. It's not a good idea. think of the optics. This isn't helping your image in the slightest. Or is there something creepier happening? Great, great. And then we start the first of many nightmare sequences in this film. This is probably one of the few times I was actually scared by this film. Still focused on Alex though. I thought if they're all here, he'd be gone. Oh. Look like the Joker. Oh, what was that? That wasn't one of the kids. I was expecting to see like one of the kids run across this room or something. Fear is subjective. I know. I don't judge a horror film by how scared I actually was because it's a completely subjective experience. The Blair Witch Project absolutely terrified me, but I know others complain about that film that nothing happens, and I've been on the receiving end of hate when I haven't found a film scary enough. And actually, there was the whole marketing campaign for this film, which I thought was a really effective marketing campaign. It feels like there's a bit of a push recently with things like Long Legs with the posters for that film. Marketing for horror film is really stepping up a gear recently again, or it's, I don't know, more noticeable for me. There were all of these videos of, you know, the sequence of the kids running away and people being creeped out by that. And I don't know, that just didn't do it for me. Again, not a detriment to the film or the trailers or anything. I'm going to be 100% honest. When I saw the viral marketing, I know a lot of people got creeped out. I don't know, it didn't quite get me for some reason. But I've seen like plenty of creepy CCTV footage where there's like a little alien creature or something that runs across screen, and it's really creeped me out. But it never quite did with that. But like, it is very unnatural, their poses and their running. And that's what I thought this film would be when I first saw that. But it's the kids running away. But I find those really scary when there's like a little alien creature, something so small that looks half human, and obviously CCTV, you can't make out what it is. I find those really scary, but I don't know, something here didn't quite work for me.
Things all right.
Don't follow me!
He knows he's being followed. If there's something more going on with that house, he might be keeping away from her on purpose to protect her. Justine staking out the house, I don't know, this was just stupid on multiple levels from her. You know, your public persona is already really bad. Your car is easily marked with the big witch branding on the side. But we get our first hint at the possession method here. I thought it was just a creepy moment, Alex's mum going into the car and snipping her hair, but it's that little hint towards the possession, yeah. You gotta get the paint removed from your car if you're gonna do a stakeout like this. Could you make it any more obvious? Oh. With a knife? Again, looks like possession. Is that window open? Huh. Oh. Scissors. Nothing else? Is that how you possess someone? This is where we're introduced to the structure of the film, it being the multiple perspectives from different characters. This is something that I really love. Monster was my favorite film of 2023. This kind of Rashomon style multiple perspectives I really like in films. However, with this one, I'm not sure how much I liked the actual utilization of it here. I feel like there's not actually a lot that is majorly recontextualized through the multi-perspective structure. I feel like if we'd seen Archer through Justine's perspective as much more antagonistic, I think that might have really helped when we transition to his perspective and we see, obviously, he's got this grief of losing Matthew, something you already know from Justine's perspective, but something that gets really enhanced through his perspective. I think that could have worked really well, and you just recontextualize some moments. Okay, seeing this night from his perspective. Yeah, that's his big old truck. He did follow her to the liquor store, I imagine. Was he the one who did it? Red paint. Yeah, of course. Yeah, he had it in his truck. I feel like throughout the film, you still perceive all of the characters in the same way, even though you are learning more information about them. I think it'd be really effective if it like challenged your presumptions of the characters. At best, we get some dramatic irony with James and Paul's moment where Paul doesn't know that James is showing up at the police station to report that he knows where the kids are. Initially, I was most excited to learn Alex's perspective because, you know, he was the lone survivor. I was really hoping we'd go into some survivor's guilt, really see what's in his head. So he was what I was most excited for. But I actually think, looking back, that Archer's was the most compelling. His segment was the most compelling in the entire film. This perspective of a parent who has lost his child, how do you even begin to process that? This obsession that he would obviously have with it, and you know, we see how that starts to impact him on his day-to-day life, messing up things at work, slipping up all of this time. Of course you would. Of course you'd be entirely consumed by this. Sleeping in his son's bed. What answers, yeah. Any clues, replaying it over and over.
Ain't that your order then?
Yeah?
The one for is green, that's red.
What?
He's just making mistakes. Yeah, your kid's missing, he's making mistakes. Yeah. And then we go into his nightmare, which is, I think, the most compelling scene of the entire film. Him just spewing all of his emotions, all that he's been feeling onto Matthew, apologizing for not being there, for not feeling adequate as a father, for not connecting with his son enough. That moment would have led me to tears if it wasn't for the jump scare that was right after.
Matthew! Stop! Wait.
Yeah, that's him going back home. Oh, a gun. Okay. 217. Is there a significance to the number? There's nothing I can think of in the real world where 217 like applies.
I really do want to say it all the time because I feel it all the time. I love you so much.
Oh, yeah, again, it's like a different person, whoever that was on the roof before. And we see Archer, you know, he starts to put things together, starts to solve this mystery. I actually quite liked the integration of Ring cameras in this.
Some of the kids even got videoed by the houses that had cameras.
The good old Ring doorbells now helping out. It never felt like product placement or out of place. It felt like it grounds the film in reality, in our reality at the moment. Maybe in the future it won't age as well, but here, you know, it never felt forced. It never felt shoved down your face. It's just like a reality of our world now. Yeah, people have these Ring cams and you can use them to help triangulate where the kids go. Drawn towards the telephone pole. Yeah, what direction were they all running? If you've got video footage of where each house where they left, can you triangulate like a center point they would have ran to? And again, it's one of those moments where you're like, well, wouldn't the police think of this? But it is explained away as the incompetence of the police and all of this cover up that's happening in that opening monologue of the film. And, you know, you start to see here the lengths that Archer is willing to go for his son. Of course, he's going to be desperate here, and, you know, he's kind of pushing boundaries a bit. He goes to this woman and asks for the footage, and she doesn't feel comfortable for that. She comes to the door wanting a bit of connection with someone who's also lost one of their children, but she doesn't get that.
Soldiering on.
We have to, don't we?
If you would mind letting me take a look at it. I don't need a copy or anything.
I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah, when she answered the door and she was asking like how he was, it was like, it seems like she wants some consoling or even like someone to talk to. That could be a good idea to have a support group. Ask the other parent.
Gary. Archer Graff, how you doing? Fine.
If mum doesn't give you permission, ask dad. Yep.
Sorry.
She doesn't like this at all. You know, Archer's really headstrong and he really pushes boundaries, and that's both a positive and a negative. When it's misguided like it is towards Justine, then it's a negative, but it can work in your favor like it does here, where he starts to piece things together. He's gonna get distracted. I'm surprised the police wouldn't have done the same, try and triangulate it, but you can't trust them to be competent. You need to advance the plot as well. Advance the mystery.
Nobody's threatening you right now.
Up the wrong tree,
Oh, you know what? This whole victim persona that you're taking on, it might have...
Oh. Oh! Huh?
Marcus?
What is going on? His eyes are like popping out his head. Marcus's eyes. There's something about eyes. I really hate that. I don't know if you remember, there was this guy on Britain's Got Talent whose whole thing was doing that, and it always really disturbed me. And there was someone on my football team growing up whose dad could do that. And I don't know, there's something, whenever there's something to do with eyes, that really freaks me out in horror films and in films. I know this is part of the alcoholism that Kreger is trying to put into this film. It's a condition that some alcoholics can develop. This is obviously like a more extreme version, but those eyes really creeped me out there. But he's running like them, is possessed as well. Covered in fuel, I don't like that.
Stay down.
It looks like his head's about to pop. His teeth all black as well. So then we cut away to Paul and James's POVs, and I actually find these two really endearing. You know, they're both kind of bumbling idiots who don't know what they're doing, but there is some endearing qualities with them. With Paul, I probably gave him too much benefit of the doubt off the start, and you see as it goes on, like, and this dude probably shouldn't be a police officer, or at least the mental state he's in at the moment, he is just not doing his job the way it should be.
Dude, please stop. Shut up. Oh, please, I work there, man. I just lost my key.
Yeah, so stick around and say that, don't run.
Shouldn't run from the police, sir.
Great. Oh, what's in that? Oh, I was going to say he was being very nice and reasonable for a police officer, but there you go. And I know some people will try and justify the punch, but as a police officer, you need to hold yourself to a higher standard, not be retaliatory like that, jumping to violence immediately, and then turning off the dash cam tells you everything you need to know about him. Oh, Yeah, punching the guy caught right on camera.
Fucking hit me, bro.
Okay, here's what's gonna happen now. I'm gonna take these cuffs off you, okay?
They're both in the wrong. Let's keep it quiet, yeah.
I don't want to see you here again, okay? The way I see it, I did you wrong, you did me wrong. Let's just call it a day. But if I see
Cover it up.
it's gonna get
Oh, he's really panicking. And Paul is just not having a good time at all. He's really going through it. Then there's the whole thing with cheating on Donna. And, you know, you have to acknowledge this was all on set by his own actions. He's got no one to blame but himself. So he's already had a day. Yeah. He just crumbles when he sees the text. But again, it is actually just... I don't know, there's something endearing about it. I think it's just because they're both kind of stupid. And you've got James on the other side of it who, you know, he's caught of this trap, this classic trap when you're homeless of needing a job. But the only way to get a job is to have the money to, you know, buy a suit, look nice, have a shower. And the only way to get that money is to have a job. You're caught in this constant loop.
Of course, I'm gonna pay Mom back, but I can't do that until I get to, you know,
Caught in the cycle.
clothes so that I can do the
Need
job.
someone to let him have a haircut, have a shower, get some new clothes.
Hell yeah!
That's not going to get you anything.
No. No?
And also password for it and things. Doesn't want it at all. And there's something about him that reminds me of Timothée Chalamet's character in Don't Look Up. I don't know, they've just got that same vibe, and you know, that whole montage of him going around trying to pawn off random things that aren't worth anything at all. Again, yeah, it was just quite funny. And I think at this point in the film there's quite a lot of humor, but it works quite well for me. A bit later on in the film I feel like some of the humor maybe starts to undercut the stakes, but at this point in the film it works quite well. Oh, that same house. Okay. Yeah, this is the one house you don't want to be in.
Oh, fuck, Willow.
But
I'm sorry.
yeah, are they bleeding out their mouth?
Hello?
No, like scars. The loudest thing you could do, yeah, go for the cutlery. Oh. And in this moment with James, we finally figure out where the kids are, what's been happening, or where they're located in that basement. And you do think, like, surely the police would have searched this house, it being Alex's house, but we do get some explanation of that later on in the film. What was that noise, though? Someone drawing him in. Oh, those are all the kids. Now, is this where Archer's... Is this the house that Archer...
Sorry. What the fuck?
Do they all triangulate to here? And as I said earlier, I think the structure here works quite well with the dramatic irony of now having James's perspective of when he's being hunted down by Paul, and James actually knows where the kids are. It's a great bit of dramatic irony. Us, the audience, knowing how close James and Paul really were to solving this thing. 50k reward, that's why he's going to the police station. Not just out of moral duty, he saw kids in a basement.
Some of the missing kids, because I know where they are. I mean, I'm pretty sure all of them, I don't know, look like a bunch of them. They're all standing in the basement. Like...
Will he actually get the reward? People don't usually get the reward. The person who turned in Luigi didn't. Some loophole. If he just said, I know where the kids are. Great. Someone who actually has the info now. Don't mess this up, Paul. Oh. This is who we've been seeing. Yeah, it's Paul. Of course it is. Shit. In his face this time.
It was an accident, I'm sorry. Wait, I know those kids are.
Yeah, it's going to be empty, isn't it? James and Paul could have solved this whole thing, really, if they were smart about it, but they were too, you know, bothered about fighting each other and doing that. And then, and you know, they go to the house, and if they'd had backup, maybe it would have gone better. We don't really know what happened in there, but, you know, if those two were a bit smarter and communicated a bit more, we could have actually solved this a lot earlier, because James did figure out where the kids were.
Excuse me, sir. I don't want to be rude, but like, how do I know you aren't gonna try and like take that reward for yourself?
Oh, yeah. Would he get the reward if he's a cop? I don't think that's really how it works.
What the fuck?
We're not seeing it now. He could be possessed.
Hey, yo, you good? Jesus Christ, bro.
Yeah, the way he's moving.
Fuck off me! Get the fuck off me! Hey! Fuck! Help me! Help me!
Ah. If it wasn't for Paul chasing him down and being, you know, flying off the gun, we could have solved it all by now.
Justine, stop.
Yeah, what the hell happened to Marcus? I completely forgot about that. Him with his eyes, and yeah. Throughout the film, we're getting these little glimpses at Aunt Gladys, but they're getting bigger and bigger. At first, we have the little flash of her in Justine's nightmare, and then another quick glimpse in Archer's nightmare, and then with James we see her there, the kind of pan over to her, and it's just this kind of slow build up to her until she finally arrives in Marcus's POV, where she's here on full show and we're finally introduced to her.
This way, ma'am.
Oh, it's her.
Principal Miller, I'm Gladys.
Gladys, who are you?
Okay, forgive me. We have not met, is that right?
Oh, is she posing as Alex's mum, or even is actually Alex's mum?
Forgive me, Gladys, but unfortunately, I need to speak with his parents.
Oh, no, it's not serious. Nothing terminal. It's just a touch of consumption.
I'm embarrassed to say, I guess I don't really know what that means. I thought
Yeah, consumption is like an older term, isn't it? And you know, I feel like Marcus, he probably should have seen some of the red flags, some of the explanations she's giving is quite weird. Just an iconic silhouette with the hair.
Please forgive me.
We're just sitting down.
The bus didn't pick me up where it was scheduled to, and I had realized far too late.
Okay. I thought it'd be more of an emergency.
My name is Gladys. It's so nice to meet you. Oh, I absolutely
What is, yeah. What's she playing at? I thought she was here saying like, I don't know, Alex had a fall, or I forgot to give medicine to the parents.
Marcus, get her a glass.
A bowl, please.
A bowl?
A bowl of water?
Peculiarity of mine. I don't even try to rationalize.
Very eccentric. There are people like this. There's a lot of red flags there, but it is also like the eccentricity of Aunt Gladys. I've worked in retail. I'm used to dealing with some people like that, and you just kind of go along with it. You don't challenge them. You just like, let me get them out of our hair, you know, especially when it's like Gladys showing up at the house. You just kind of go along with it to avoid any awkwardness. And this is where we're fully introduced to the mechanics of the movie in terms of the possession and how Gladys does it. I never caught earlier that the ribbon was taken from Marcus's office. There was a quick glimpse of Gladys looking at it, but I never quite caught it. But she shows up there with his ribbon and some hair, and she launches Marcus on his partner. And The sudden gore there was crazy. You know, we didn't have anything up to that point, and then we just have Marcus caving this guy's head in. It was gross.
Is that my ribbon?
Personal item. Yeah, some ritual. Or you can see it taking over. Oh, but not him. Yeah, he immediately went to strangle Justine earlier. Oh. That's why his teeth were black? Oh, face fully caved in. And I just really want to know what Marcus was feeling at that moment. We don't really explore how the possession works. Is Marcus still, subconsciously in there, seeing through those eyes, seeing what he is doing to his partner? Not being in control of your body as it's doing something like that is brutal. And I kept looking into Marcus's eyes to see if there was any emotion in there, if there was a glimpse of something. Is he still conscious under there? Looking in his eyes, see a bit of regret. When he was transforming, you could kind of see it taking over. But just the idea of, your body being used to brutally murder someone, let alone your partner, is just horrifying, and you not being in control of your own body, And then we finally catch up to the attack earlier on where Marcus attacks Justine. Some of her hair, so he'll attack her now. Yeah. What's with his eyes, though? He just hasn't blinked. And he just instinctually knew directly where she was. Ran right to her. I guess all the kids ran in a straight line to their location as well. Finally catching up with this, though. Are you just gonna have to kill him? How do you stop him? Is there a way to break the curse, the ritual? And there's some comedy here I think works quite well. It's kind of the bystander effect. This guy, someone suddenly runs into your shop and they're being attacked. You're so shocked you don't know what to do, Justine shouting, "Come on, help me." But in that moment, I don't know, you got to process so much information there. You don't even know what's happening. Is the guy gonna do anything?
Get out of my store! Fucking help me!
Yeah. He's still just chasing after, yeah. At expense of his own body. Is that why his eyes are doing that? Or is just feet just gonna give out eventually if he just kept going and going? Oh. That's taking care of him. Oh my god. And then with all of this, Archer and Justine are fully on side now, Is that shocking moment to Archer that shows him, okay, Justine, she's not the enemy here. Yeah, a bit more common ground now.
Same posture, same exact way, just like Marcus ran after you today. He was weaponized, like a heat.
Weaponized, there you go. They are the weapons. I was thinking more about the title earlier because the word weapon came up. Yeah. Is she using them as weapons? What would she use the kids for? Yeah, what is the purpose of all of this?
Alex Lilly lives in this house.
There we go, Alex. This is what I wanted, Alex's perspective. The first thing I want to talk about here is the concept of parasites, because this is something that came up quite a lot in the film, and I didn't catch quite how many times it came up on my first watch. But yeah, when I was editing this and going through, there's plenty of times where they bring up the idea of parasites and cordyceps.
Who else can think of an example of a parasite? Anyone?
As the parasitic cordyceps continue to feed off its body, That's disgusting.
Okay, is this a clue as to what's happening? Parasites taking over bodies?
That serves to spread more
What could that be?
Justine was giving a lecture about parasites, and then as they're talking about parasites, as the TV show about cordyceps and parasites was on Marcus's TV, immediately after that it cuts to Gladys, and we see, yeah, Gladys is acting as this parasitic force feeding off of the suffering of others. So then with Alex, we see he's quite shy and timid. He's much smaller than the rest of the kids. He's an outcast. Basically, these institutions are failing him. It's on a smaller level, but still, it's like, what was that teacher doing? Just letting him walk home on his own? Just like ignoring him?
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Okay. Bullied already, a outsider of the class. Much smaller than the rest, isn't he? Look at him.
Matthew!
What? You said pencils down.
Matthew, outside now.
Okay. Matthew. Archer's son was the bully, okay.
You miss your ride, son?
I'm okay.
Sure?
Come on. You can't just let a kid walk like that if you're a teacher. That young. He's a victim here, but in a much different way than I was expecting. You know, when we finally got his POV, I was thinking, okay, you know, there's this quite evocative imagery of him being the only one left in a classroom. There being an empty classroom with only him. There's got to be like some survivor's guilt. But as this develops, we learn Alex is much more involved than we think. We have Gladys introduced to the home. It definitely feels like there are some elements of almost grooming here. There's obviously the threatening and the blackmailing, but then there's some of the dialogue. It feels very much like how things are like our little secret between them, and how she's saying you can help, you're the only one who can help. She looks much more like a witch there.
I want you to promise that you will not tell a living soul that I am here, or that your parents are resting like they are. Well, I was hoping your mom and dad would make me feel better, but it doesn't seem to be turning out so good.
Okay, yeah, that must be it.
But maybe you could, though. You could help.
How?
You know, Gladys is this outside force that introduces herself into this home. And it feels like, yeah, how like an abuser can come into a home, or how alcoholism can come into a home. Oh, that's what the holes were in their faces. Fuck.
You understand what can happen if you break your promise?
Is one of her eyes a fake eye? Look at, yeah.
Do you believe me?
She always has those big chunky glasses so they distract from her eyes, yeah. Again, she's like this parasite benefiting from Alex, benefiting from this like radicalization of Alex. However, it's more of a blackmailing than I thought it would be. And there are elements here of Alex almost like acting as a perpetrator, him assisting Gladys.
Well, at school, bring an object from...
Yeah, he needs to steal something from each of them.
And if you got better, you'd go back home?
Yeah, it's all just doing it to get his mum and dad back. It's just don't get caught stealing. Obviously, you know, it's all under duress to look after his parents, but there is still going to be guilt from him. You know, it's much more direct than I thought it would be. I thought he'd have survivor's guilt, but there's more guilt than that because he's an active participant here. And although I had my criticisms of Aunt Gladys being this like scapegoat, I think this other read of her, I do quite like this read of her being this like parasitic force. It works quite well because there are plenty of parasitic forces that benefit off violence, like the NRA or even the privatized healthcare system in America. If you view her more as a stand-in for institutions and like the failure of institutions, I think it works quite well. And I know I'm a Brit, and here there's going to be people not liking how much I'm criticizing America here as an outsider, but I care about people, as simple as that. And what I see day in, day out is the slaughter of innocent children in their classrooms. How could you not expect me to critique the systems that allow that to happen? You know, I was born in 1998. Columbine was a year after that. And in my lifetime, what material change has there actually been to help children to stop this from happening? There's been practically nothing, and it kind of blows my mind how little media we have reckoning with this. That's why, you know, partly why I was so excited for this film. I was like, oh, okay, we've got a film going into this subject matter. Because really, like, how much popular media is there about this? Probably because it's still, you know, an ongoing thing that there's so much trauma over, but like there's this societal fear and there's so little media covering it, so little popular media. Like Pumped Up Kicks is probably the biggest piece of media about gun violence in schools that there is, and that was released like 14 years ago. It just feels like something we bury and we ignore as a society. And there's so many parallels in this film. I don't want people telling me that I'm thinking too deep about this, and it's not that deep. It's clear with the empty classroom imagery and the floating gun, you know. Even if Craig didn't intend it, death of the author, there is so much imagery and so much that relates here. And, you know, we see Justine, she sees some warning signs with Alex. She's concerned about Alex, but she doesn't act quick enough. Okay, she did notice. I was just going to say, yeah, he just disappears like that.
You can talk to me about anything you want.
I want to go back now.
He's not gonna, though. She didn't know what was happening at home, you know, him being this dependent for his parents, looking after his parents. You don't know what's happening at home, and
You'll need to feed your parents. There's soup in the cabinet.
the bodies still need to be sustained, yeah. This kid doesn't know what he's doing, yeah. You never really know what kids are going through. They can be so dependent. There is this like parasite feeding on our society, feeding on young men, radicalizing them. How do people become weapons? The title of this film, what drives people to violence? With Alex, he was blackmailed and there was desperation. With Archer, there was this need for a scapegoat, for a boogeyman that he was searching for. I think one thing that might have worked really well here, if Gladys had almost created an enemy for Alex, you know, Gladys herself was the enemy, but if she kind of diverted some anger away from her to someone else, or if we found out she was purposefully, you know, guiding people to Justine instead of her, I think that could have worked really well. How, you know, we create these external boogeymen that we blame all the problems are instead of looking at what the problems really are. If she had purposely set them onto Justine, I think that would have worked really well in this analogy. And then once we've been through Alex's chapter, we've seen how the mechanics work. We've seen his backstory. We get into the finale. We get into what really falls flat for me in this film. We have Justine and Archer entering the house. You know, they're there. They think they know where the kids are. They're going to investigate, and they get attacked. They get attacked by the possessed Paul and James.
That's Paul.
You know him?
Yeah.
Huh. Oh. They don't stop though, do they? Even put their body on the line. We saw that. A peeler. Oh. No. I mean, what do you think you're doing with that anyway? But still. There's some good tension, you know, Justine's being strangled, Archer just gets out of it. I'm like, okay, great, Archer, go and help Justine. And then we get this like comedic moment that completely undercuts this bathos, that completely undercuts and ruins the stakes. Come on, Archer, hurry up. It's just getting comedic at that point, yeah. She's being choked out and it just keeps happening.
Goddamn freaky little.
Oh, into the basement though. That's good. That is good. Justine though, she's still being choked there. I thought Archer was gonna go help her. Justine's still being attacked. She's still being strangled and she gets herself out of it. But that moment really infuriated me, and that's still not the big moment for me that I really dislike here. There's one more thing that this finale, I feel like it just drops the ball. Mum and Dad, you've got a connection. Can he actually get to them at all?
Matthew?
We have Alex looking at his parents, trying to see if there was anything still in there. And Archer goes down and finds Matthew in the basement and tries to connect with him. And I'm wondering here, like, oh, can we connect to someone? They're in their trance, but is the solution here, you know, a little bit of connection? I know it's really cliche, but I think this would really work here with the metaphor, with everything, that human connection is the solution. We're looking into Alex's parents, trying to see if he can get through to them and trying to see if Archer can get through to Matthew. You know, Alex, he's this outcast. How do we save people who are outcasts in society? We reach out and we connect with them on a broader level. This is what should have been the solution to the film. We could have broken people out of their trances, you know, maybe broken people out of their hatred as well through connection. This is what the solution should have been to the film. I stand by that 100%. This is my massive complaint of why the film doesn't work, because what is the solution here? Alex uses Gladys's own weapon against her. Oh, it's such an oversight. I can't express how much, especially thinking about it more after finishing the film, how much this infuriates me. It's basically saying the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. That's the solution that the film proposes here. That's an NRA talking point that was introduced after Sandy Hook. Oh my God, I really don't like it at all. And then there's this comedic undertone with everything happening here. Oh yeah, you drop it in water. He has seen how it's done. He knows the ritual. He's got it.
Oh no.
Okay, yeah, it's all of them. Just a random home as well, okay. Thing is, Archer's still there attacking Justine. It's the same thing that happened earlier where I thought he was going to go help her with Paul. These kids are going and attacking Gladys. And I understand there may be being some catharsis here, but with everything with Marcus earlier, where I was like looking in Marcus's eye, wondering how conscious he is while his body is being used to attack someone. Now this is happening to kids. Kids are ripping this person apart. Just rip her apart. Goes back to the classic thing, how many 10-year-olds could you take in a fight? It's gotta be if she dies here. Oh, the others will stop. Ah. Oh my God. Even though it's a person who's like who's benefited off them and, you know, tortured them maybe, and it's a horrible person. Their bodies are being used for violence outside of their control. And I just really, the tone of it, if the tone was darker, it maybe could have worked, but it was comedic. And I just had so much tonal whiplash here because we have Alex reuniting with his parents, Archer reuniting with Matthew, and it's so tonally jarring going from the comedy to, you know, this supposed to be sentimental moment of them all reuniting. It just didn't work for me in the slightest. And just the music, yeah. He's with his mum and dad now. I've got such like tonal whiplash here. Yeah, they're back there okay. Why are they all still standing like that though? I don't mind some bathos, but when it's happening directly as something else extremely intense and important is happening, it really undercuts it. You know, if it had happened after we'd resolved the issue and there was a bit of bathos, you know, that could have worked. But here it undercuts it while the tension is still high. Have our catharsis after things are resolved, not while it's happening. I don't know, it just really didn't work. The tone in the last 20 minutes here for me. Like Matt and Archer, I found that subplot so compelling. Archer, you know, breaking down to him in that nightmare, and then they reunite and I kind of felt nothing, and it's a real shame. And of course, this is all subjective. Some people would have really connected with this. I'm sure there's others that it really worked for, but I just couldn't get behind it here. I do like that, you know, we find out after the fact that the kids remain possessed a little bit, and it took a while for them to come back and start talking and become their true selves a bit, because they're being this like underlining trauma. I think it works quite well for that yeah, they don't just spring back to how they were beforehand. It takes some time for them to come back, and maybe they're never truly quite themselves again. I think that works really well. There's like some PTSD there, but it's just kind of like a line thrown in at the end. And I think maybe, yeah, with Gladys, we should have had, you know, everyone connecting, and she kind of loses her power because there's no longer the people, you know, they break out of their trances a little bit. And she starts losing her power because she's not feeding off them anymore. If Alex managed to get through to his parents and Archer got through to his son, Matthew, and maybe, you know, Alex used the power to get the kids out of the basement and to make them run home rather than attacking Gladys. And then they got home and, you know, their parents can help out the kids who've suddenly finally returned. But that's not what we go for here. I can't express how much I really dislike how the kids were turned on Gladys and how it was Gladys's own tools used against her. You know, I know there is irony there. It's a common tool in horror films and, you know, with villains to have their own tools used against them. But it just feels so irresponsible with the imagery here. I don't know, some people are going to have problems with my critique here because, you know, it's not a valid critique that the film doesn't fit my worldview and that's why I'm critiquing it. But I don't think this was intentional by Kreger. I don't think it was intentional for it to be this a good guy with a gun beats a bad guy with a gun metaphor, or that like violent games cause school shootings. I just think the implications of it weren't thought through enough. They weren't thought through as much as they should be for such a sensitive matter. And maybe even if it was portrayed differently in the tone and it was, you know, a bit darker, that Alex had maybe turned to this, you know, people who are abused can turn to abuse, you know, that's a common thing that happens. If it was a bit more dark and serious that Alex had done this, and if he felt like it was his only way out of this, which I think he did think, but the tone really didn't indicate that. I think the ending could have worked really well there. I think the ending could have worked a bit better. It's just all of this comedy, it just gave me whiplash, the tonal whiplash of it. The payoff just didn't work for me. So yeah, that's Weapons. That's my one big thing. And, you know, I watched the film, thought about it, and then watched it again, and I was like, I could see the film growing on me. There definitely are lots of aspects that I like, you know. Overall, I think on Letterboxd, I gave it a 3 out of 5 because there were still lots of elements that I liked and really worked. It's just the ending with I couldn't get behind it. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, my breakdown of this. I know this is something a little new for returning viewers. I hope you enjoyed this. You can still catch my full reaction, unedited reaction on Patreon. You just need your own copy of the film. But I hope there's enough of my reaction spliced in here too to still give you that reaction fix here. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one.